All right, Blake. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah,
How
my
was your
pleasure.
set? Tell us about it.
Awesome, man. I had a blast. First off, thank you guys for having me. It was so much fun, and the crowd was awesome. And I was a little worried because these allergies. I don't know. I had a little cold or something. I was like, oh god,
Southeast Arkansas.
shit. Like I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna be all
Cutting
scratchy.
corn.
But it went awesome. The crowd was so into it, and they were so much fun and very generous, and people were open with their feedback, and people seemed to like it. And I'm just thankful to have the opportunity and come and do it. And
Good deal, man.
yeah, it was awesome.
How many songs you think you did?
Good question. Let's see. 3 hours, about 16 songs an hour. So what's that? They're 48 songs. Somewhere around there.
Jesus. And not one repeated?
No. I have a master set of about like 80 songs that I'll pull from, for the most part. And like no, now I have had a few gigs, especially early on. They were like either longer or people sometimes request songs, and I'll do like a repeat song. But I'm loath to do it generally. Even when someone will come up like, "Oh, play something in the orange," I'm like, "Man, I played that earlier. I don't really want to do it again or whatever." But
Like one of the first times, or I think it was the first time you played at the Crawfish Shack. I remember saying something to you. I was like, "Man, it's a restaurant." So the people that were here when you played your first song aren't going to be
Yeah.
the people that are here when you play your last song. So don't worry too
which
much
is true,
into
and
it.
I've done, especially when it comes to requests, like I'm a lot more, But like otherwise, no, I generally will have my set beforehand and just sort of know what I'm doing, and I do try to work it out to where like I do like some more popular songs, like maybe later or in the middle, so like more people can see them. So I love writing a set. I don't know why, but it's just like an art form to me, like writing the set list. Because you can't. It's not a fact of just like throwing a bunch of songs, in a list. Like it needs peaks and valleys, and like it has to flow and make sense as a set. And I enjoy that aspect of it. I put a lot of thought into like the order of my songs.
Let me ask you this. Do you try to tell a story with the...
No, I wouldn't say that. Only because, like, when I sit down, like if I'm writing my own song, for instance, I would say, yeah, it's very much storytelling. But
Like an album?
yeah, I guess, yeah, you could say that, sure, yes, for
Right.
sure. Like, obviously, I haven't written like a full album, but I do appreciate an album should be a story. I think, like, it's not just a collection of songs that don't. I think the best albums have something that sort of thematically ties them together, and are not just a greatest hits collection of songs. It can tell a story. But to your question, no, I don't. I wouldn't put it like that, only because I just feel like I'm just at best like reinterpreting other people's works, and sometimes like I skew pretty close to the original work. It just depends a lot of times. So I don't view it so much as that, so much as I'm like curating a playlist. Is really more how it feels to me. Like I'm because I for instance, you guys may know this, I DJ a lot. I DJ weddings and stuff, and it's really a lot of the same thing. Like you need to make sure that your energy is sort of going up and down like a sound wave. You don't want to keep everything up too high, and you don't want a bunch of fucking downer songs in a row either. Like it needs to have its own rhythm, and like that's important to me as a performer, to sort of make sure that I'm giving that across.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So how long does it take you to kind of put together something? Is it, do you keep one and then follow the same?
Never, ever, never, never. No.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I love it. So what I do is the same every time. I'll print off like I have a master's list of every song that I know, or most every song that I'll play live, and it's just I'll think about the venue and the type of people that may be there, and like even my past shows, what if I've played somewhere before, like what have I opened with? You don't want to open with the same song or sort of have it too similar to a past set or whatever, however have you. So I just think about all that, and it's generally a pretty quick process. Sometimes I'll just sit down and in 5 minutes bust it out because I sort of know already, and obviously I've practiced these songs dozens, if not hundreds of times, so I already know them, and like I have a general idea of what's the vibe of the venue going to be, like what's my past experiences, like what's the sort of emotion or whatever that I want to give across, and with that in mind, I can generally pretty quick come down and I'll just write a song down, mark it out, and bam, 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 and then I've got my set. And I may change it a lot of times, certainly, which request obviously. If someone gives me a request and I can do it, that's like the best feeling in the whole world as a musician. Like it's awesome. Like someone has come, like they like the way you sound, they want to hear something, and you can give it to them. Awesome feeling. But, sure, sometimes I'll write a set and it's just like different than I thought or whatever for any reason, and I'll just swap it up on the fly, which I always have a backup list of my entire songs sitting there as well as my set. So, peruse it over, and if you need to swap things up on the fly, that's totally fine.
So do you handwrite? Do you have a tablet?
Nah, just do it on the computer.
Oh, okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I mean, I have handwritten some sets for sure in the past if I forgot to write one up or whatever.
So I guess you must have had like your tablet or whatever to the side today, tonight or something.
Well, just a home computer usually.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
just print it off or work. Do it right before I
Okay,
leave
I
work
see.
Friday afternoon, something like that. Just
Gotcha.
yeah, just sort of go through 'em. Again, it's pretty quick because I almost always, generally, I'm already thinking about it for a day or two. Just if not like sitting down and thinking about it, like it's always bounced around the back of my head.
Right.
So by the time it comes, like I generally have a pretty good idea of the vibe I want to put out there. So it's just fun to me. It's like I love. This goes back to when I was fucking like 13 years old, and I just used to love like burning CDs, for my friends and stuff. Like this was I just loved it so much, and it's really.
I mean, it's fucking music. Like we, the three of us here, grew up in the best musical era possible.
Well, everyone feels that way, of course.
Well,
Everyone feels
but
that.
it- but we're the
they
ones
grew up
that's
with
correct.
the best music,
Like,
for
it's-
sure. Yeah.
we're the ones that's
I
right.
think
and
getting
so-
a hold of the music for this era was because I think everybody's computer had LimeWire on it.
Oh yeah,
So if
Absolutely.
everybody got that virus, I mean,
absolutely.
if you got a burnt CD, you had the virus.
And you guys will know this. Like when you're really into music, or you have friends or loved ones, whoever are really into music, like giving someone a song recommendation or a custom mix is like it's not just a song, right? Like you're telling people things when you. Hey, I think you may like this song. Like this song made me think of you. Hey, I made this playlist for you. Like it's
Dude,
more than the act of just handing music from one person to the other.
You seep your soul through music sharing, or at least our generation
Absolutely.
did.
Like
that with me and my husband. Like that's what we
100%.
do all the time. He'll send me a song and be like, "Thought about you," and I'll go to listen to it, and it's like, "Bitch done made me crazy" or some shit. Like it's
that checks out. No, yeah.
checks out.
Yeah,
So-
for sure. But yeah, you're telling this
yeah.
person a story like with just a song, and like that's, I love that. That's why music is my passion, obviously, and like that, it's a way to express like your emotions without plainly stating them, and that's a very powerful tool. I've always felt like
That was beautiful.
and
what
still
you
do.
just said.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very true. And people, like most people, I think it's more meaningful that you could tell someone like, hey, like I'm thinking of you, and that's great and very nice and thoughtful. But like when you give them a song that is like, hey, I'm thinking of you, but like this specific emotion and this specific point of time is like making me think of you. Like that's more, I think, more or very meaningful. I'm not gonna say more. People express themselves in different ways. But that is like to me like one of the heights of ways that I can express myself to someone. Like this song made me think of you, and that's like, a big thing.
Here's this whole burnt CD of
Yeah.
24 songs.
Absolutely,
I love you to death.
absolutely,
Yes.
and like that
Whole
was
lot of sappy
my
shit.
Yeah.
love language.
Yeah.
Like making people playlists.
That
and
14-year-old me. That's
telling you,
what it
man.
was.
That's it.
Shaggy. It wasn't me.
I used to love that, just burning people's CDs, like just not even just going off vibes, vibes alone, and like that was.
I got a question for you. Okay, so we've known each other like I don't know, 20 years.
Long time, yeah.
Long time. Really, like, you're pretty much my brother. I mean, you're my husband's boyfriend, so
Yes.
we're kin somehow.
So, somewhere in
Um,
there, yeah.
But whenever I met you, Koala Bear Trailer Park,
That's correct.
2008.
Somewhere in that range, yeah.
And you were playing a lot of these songs that you played tonight, and you were just picking out a guitar, like either at the trailer or over at like the gravel pit or something, and like we would just all sit around and you would lead out the singing, we'd all join in on the singing, like
Sure.
freaking Sublime and all of these songs. Did that Blake ever foresee the Blake that's sitting in here today?
That's a good question. I started really late. I didn't start playing guitar till like 2007. So I was like 21 years old when I first started. My dad was a musician all his life, a touring musician. So like I wish I would have started earlier, but I didn't. So I would say no. Honestly, no at that point, especially then, because I was so new at it and was like, I'm just not very good. And like, I'm not just being modest. Like I just started, so. But no, I would say no, for sure. Like to ever realistically think that I would like be.
What did that Blake think that this Blake would be? Like what did you want to be when you grow up at that point? Or what did you think, like, basically, I don't know how you were back then, but I was just like, yeah, it's no longer what do I want to be when I grow up. It's pretty much what I'm going to be handed when I grow up. But where did you see yourself in the future back then?
That's a really good question. So back then and for the longest time, I came to college to be a football coach. Was my original plan. I want to be a football coach. Yeah. And I pretty much immediately moved off of that. And then I started thinking about, like, because I love to write. I was like, well, like, journalism could be a good career for me. So I got into journalism. And then that's when I started, around that time was when I started my own podcast, for instance, and I started writing for a couple websites. Most notably, there was a site called Leviathan. I was, like, writing about video games. And I was, like, positive that's what I wanted to do.
I remember that.
Yeah, like be a video game journalist.
Yeah.
And I did that for a few years. I wrote for a number of websites, like became like managing editor of the site called Game News, which was really fun, and had a 2-year podcast with my buddy Chris that was like video games focused, and I loved it. Had a lot of fun, but it's a hard and competitive field, for sure. So it eventually just seemed, even I started working at like the liquor store in Monticello, and right as I was like my last year of college, I was still sort of doing that, and that was still sort of the plan. I'd moved on my major from journalism to just English lit, so it was still sort of like writing adjacent, but I had no plans at the point to be like a teacher or anything. I still wanted to write, but the lit degree was just easier for me to get, and eventually I realized that it was just a career path that I just wasn't equipped to follow at that point. And, fell into another job, and I do sales now, of all things, which is fine, and I love it. But that was definitely the plan. Like a life as a musician has never really been like a goal, or really, it's a great gig. I absolutely have a passion for it and love it so much. It's not just a job. Like it really is a passion. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Like there definitely nights where it's like fucking shit. Like you gotta get up on stage and do it. It is a job, but for the most part, like it's not. I'm not out here making thousands of dollars doing this. Like I'm very thankful for the people like you that provide me a place to do it, and the means to help pay my bills while doing it. But it's obviously not like I've never really considered it as sort of a stepping stone to bigger and better things for me. I just love to play, and like I'm honored to have people that seem to
Speaking on writing, did you know that Blake has some short stories published?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a few short stories. I've finished like the first draft of a novel. Like,
I was about to ask that next.
One day I'll finish it up.
I was about to ask. Me and him pretty much announced to each other at the same time that we were writing a book. Like,
Yeah.
because I mentioned something to him, he goes, "Oh yeah, me too."
Yeah, and I
So-
finished the first draft of it. I haven't gone back and finished it up, but like I did do that, and I still have a couple of book ideas that I swirl around and even still tweak on. One that I'm really excited about now, but nothing that I've like finished. But it's a passion. It never goes away.
Yeah.
That's
like me. Like whenever I finally do finish mine, like I don't want it to go viral or get big or
Right.
anything. Like I just want something published.
Sure.
Like I just want my name on it. I just want the legacy. Like I want my kid to be like, "Oh yeah, my mom's got a published book."
Yeah.
One day when she's a lot older, and I hope she never reads my book.
There's something to be said about putting that out into the universe, And,
Yeah.
Because once I think I'm big on the idea of like once you put any piece of art out, writing, a song, a painting, anything, it's not just yours anymore, and that's a scary feeling for people who are like a lot of artists are very insular, right? They don't share themselves openly, so they do it through their art. And this idea that like you've put art out there and like it's just no longer yours, people will see it and read it and consume it and have a million different takeaways from it, and they're just as valid as like is your own thoughts on it. And that's like a scary thought for a lot of people who don't talk or share themselves, because you are sharing yourself in a way. When you share your art, you're sharing yourself. And to have, open it up to critiquing and feedback, and that can be a scary thing, but it's like a necessary part of creating and sharing your art.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Do you get bogged down sometimes if, say, you visibly see somebody like not vibing with your music? Does that kind of pull in the back of your head?
Yeah, anyone who says otherwise is
facial
probably lying.
expressions do say a lot, and saying that out loud, you may see somebody's facial expression and you may take it as it was for you,
Sure.
but it may not have been. But sometimes you can actually tell like somebody's not vibing with your music, and like I've had people say, "Hey, we were sitting here, we want to sit over on this side,"
Yeah,
stuff
sure.
like that. And it's just like, okay, I got you. We'll make accommodations for anybody about anything. But it just kind of, and the reason why I asked that is because how you were talking about art, it's the same way that I kind of perceive the food that comes out of here.
Totally.
So like, it's somebody else is going to critique it. Some
But
people
cooking
are
is an
going to
art
like
form, 100%.
and not like it. So like, we kind of get that sometimes too. Of
Sure.
like stuff gets sent back, and it's like.
It sucks because
Like,
I did
like
this.
I've made that 90 times today,
Yeah.
and you're the only one. Come on, like
It's a great question. To me, I would say not really. Like I haven't had anyone just have a straight up negative reaction. Now there's people for sure who's just like, I'm not playing their style of music, and that's fine. But what's way worse to me is when people just don't care. Like I would just rather someone give me the stink face and walk out than like there's been gigs for sure where like you finish a song or whatever and there's just nothing. No one's paying a lick of attention to you whatsoever.
You're just background noise.
Which is again totally fine for sure, but it can, especially the first time it happened to me, like when I played whatever, it just nothing, and I was like, this is really hard. Like it's really hard to just continue the show because like you can get in your own head a little bit, for sure. You're like,
I do have another question for on that. Is like, for me, whenever I'm out with my wife and we're listening to like live music, I've always wanted to like tell the musician or the band like, hey, you're doing a damn good job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is something that the spectator could do to signal to you or to let you know that you're doing a great job besides the tip? Like, eyes,
sure,
a smile,
and
a thumbs up,
clapping at the end.
Yeah, for sure. The two biggest things, and like any musician will notice this because you can't help it, but like when people are just bobbing along to the song itself,
Yeah.
or if they're singing along, certainly, or if they're just like tapping their foot, or just like you can just sort of tell
It's
when they're
those
like
visual cues.
for sure.
that
But definitely
you can tell.
and I'm now, because of my experience, if I go see anyone live, I will applaud after every single song. Only because I know that's like the most easiest and direct way to give like positive feedback.
Okay.
It's super simple, obviously, but like after experiencing, and like I'm not begrudging anyone for this, like so especially like it would be perfectly normal like here or a restaurant, like they're not necessarily coming here for live music. It may be a positive and it may be a bonus and they may really enjoy it, but that's certainly, almost certainly not the reason they showed up here tonight. They came here for the food, and that's totally cool. So like it's totally natural that like you may not get the reaction it's at certain places, you know, and that's, now I was very fortunate tonight. Like they were very generous with the positive feedback, and I got a lot of claps, and people even came up to me and was like, you sounded great, and that's awesome. It really means the world to me when people do that.
I hope the world is listening. So when you get your food at a restaurant, you should fucking clap.
Just
Clap.
Just
Like,
give the tiniest of titters.
That's what
will
you're here for.
Make that musician's
Like,
day. I promise you. Just all it takes, and it goes a long way, because the silence can be deafening sometimes.
Oh, I bet.
It can
I
be
bet.
the very, like I'll never forget, like the first, I was at La Terraza, and like my first set was cool because a lot of people knew it was my first show, so they showed up and supported. But like the second or third, like there wasn't a lot of people there, and God, boy, it was just hard because
well, I mean,
no one was into it. And
Well, that and it's Southeast Arkansas.
I mean, right? Sometimes it just be
Like,
like that, but like it can really. I do feel like one of the most, obviously a lot of practice. Like your equipment matters, and your practice and your skill matters. All this matters as a musician. But one of the most untalked about tools in any musician's kit is confidence. You have to have it. I don't care how humble you are. Like you have to be confident in your own ability to stand up in front of a bunch of strangers and perform. And if you lose that confidence, it is a fucking brutal experience. And I'll tell y'all a story. I don't tell this a whole lot, but it's the truth. It's not something I'm necessarily proud of. Is there like any taboos on this? Can I talk about?
You can talk about whatever you want
Yeah.
to, man.
We had a band, right? And we played in Monroe, Louisiana.
Is this
This was As the Willow Burns.
Yeah,
was the name
As
of
the
band.
Willow,
And it was
yeah.
like me, Cody Eason, my buddy Jeremy Montgomery, and Tyler Chambers.
Yeah.
And we were really good, I think. Like we had a lot of talent.
They really were. The only reason I feel that Alice the Willow Burns isn't together is because everyone just kind of like got so caught up
It was
in
really
their
COVID. Like COVID sort of shut us down and it just never started back up. And that was brutal. That sucked because we had a lot of fun together. Still love those guys to death, but loved playing with them. We played at a bar. I think it was called the Brass Monkey in Monroe, or maybe Bastrop. I can't remember. But I made the mistake. Let me tell y'all guys. I made the mistake of, we went out and we smoked some weed before the show. And usually I don't do that. Like, well, I mean, before a show, certainly. I just don't like it. But I was like, whatever. We're having fun. I was drinking a little bit. And so, as you guys, or some people certainly may know, like, we can give you some paranoia sometimes.
Just sometimes.
Sometimes. Motherfucker,
Sometimes.
let me tell you. Like, we smoked a little bit, and the way the band was set up is me and Jeremy sort of split duties. So, like, half the set, I would sing and play guitar, and he would drum, and then halfway through, we would swap. So I would get on the drum set and drum, and Jeremy would get up there and play and sing. And I was slated to, like, start. I was going to sing and play guitar. So we step outside, we're, like, smoke a little bit, and come back in, and it just hit me like a brick. I was so fucking high, and I was like looking. I'm sitting out there like guitar in hand, like looking at these people, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, I can't fucking do this. I'm like, guys, I can't fucking do this. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I can't fucking do it. Like, sorry. So I was like, Jeremy, you gotta get up here. So we swapped, and I got behind the drum set, which was fine because I can go back there, put my hat on, like no one's looking at me. But I learned a valuable lesson. Hey, don't smoke before you go.
Did you ever swap back, or were you?
Oh
you
yeah.
just
Give me an hour.
Yeah, calm
drum
down,
set,
and get
couple
back in
drinks
your
and
rhythm.
we're fine. But like the core of it was like I had zero confidence in my ability to get up there because I was paranoid and high as shit, you know. And like on a lesser note, for sure, I've had days where I maybe wasn't feeling it, like in practice. I don't think it's ever happened to me during a show because I'm obsessive about preparation. Like I practice so much, like most people don't know. So much before. For instance, I've had shows, I think like the last 5 or 6 weekends I've been playing shows. So at least 3 days a week, like I just get off work and go practice. And that's all I'm doing. Like if I have some time, between shows, I may not practice that much, but certainly I practice a ton. So I'm very confident, but like definitely, you know, I start to practice and it's just not, I feel like maybe I'm not feeling it or it's not sounding good or I'm working on a new song that I'm not comfortable with. If you're not confident in it, it's just not going to work. And that's why I see this sometimes with musicians. It drives me fucking crazy when someone will get up there and start, or like they'll get a request maybe, or they'll play a song that they're not 100% sure they can do. And it just never works. And like, so you end up just not playing it or stopping halfway through. And to me, it just speaks to like a sort of, I hate to call it like a lack of professionalism. And like, you know, I don't want to like disparage anyone. And I hate to sort of put it in those terms, but I think that's how it comes across to the sort of listener, you know, the crowd. It's like, it's very important to me to like, at least put on the appearance that I absolutely had my shit together. Like, very, very important to me that no one ever thinks, like, oh, this dude's just sort of half-assing it. And which is why I tell a lot of people, like, someone requests something, I'll be like, you know, I know it, like, maybe. And they're like, we'll just play it. I'm just like, no. Like, sorry. Like, if I haven't practiced this song 100 times, like, you're just not going to see me get on stage and do it. And that's important to me. And now, certainly, there's tons of musicians who don't need that are talented enough to just get there and play something and they can crush it. Absolutely. That's totally fine. Like, I'm not that talented. Like, I need the practice and the preparation. So they're very important to me to like portray that image as someone who is very prepared. It's worked out for me, I would say, more often than not.
Do you have a lot of like people that come to your shows and stuff that end up like talking to you like afterwards or in between sets and stuff like that, like
sure.
come up and speak, like you get compliments and stuff? Like what do you think, since your journey began, what do you think your favorite compliment from like a spectator would be? Do you have one that's just kind of like embedded and stuff? Like when with me and the food with the restaurant and stuff, I think my favorite compliment on like our crawfish was New Orleans. We call him New Orleans. He's from New Orleans, but he said, "This is the best crawfish I've ever eaten in a restaurant." And I was like, you know what? I'll take it, because I'm not trying to compete with Peepaw out in the bayou, you know, cooking crawfish. I'm competing with like eat my catfish and, you know, claw daddies and stuff like that. And so, but it's always stuck with me. I think he told me that like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and I still talk about that compliment. Do you have like one that just kind of like...
It's a really good question. So yeah, obviously like me, like I'm mostly doing like covers of songs, you know, so I don't feel like there's not people walking up to me and like, wow, like your music changed my life, you know, which is fine. That's cool. Yeah. But yeah, the answer, I think the real answer is, and I get this fairly often, and it means a lot to me, is like, sure, I'll get people who will come up and be like, man, you know, that sounded great. And that's very meaningful to me. Like, I love it when people approach me and stuff. But the one thing I hear that I think means more to me is, especially in like this area, Southeast Arkansas or whatever, people will be like, man, like I love your song choices. Like the playlist that you like picked was great. And it, of course, goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, yeah, because I put a lot of thought and work in this playlist. But, you know, there's something to be said about the fact that like the dominant genre around here is generally country or southern rock. And like, that's totally fine. It's what I was raised on. Like, absolutely no hate. But it's like, that's not what I listen to. And it's not what I want to play. A lot of musicians I've talked to or budding musicians, people who want to do it, like they always come with this idea. I hear this so much especially from other people who play, who are like, I'm thinking about, I want to play it. And I'm like, yeah, man, do it. And they're like, well, like, I don't want to play country though. I'm like, well, fucking don't then. And they're like, well, that's just what people want to hear. And like, it's just not true. People, they like country, and I'm sure they would love to hear country, but like, people want to hear, I think, what like the musician is passionate about. If you get up there and lie, and lying can absolutely include playing a bunch of music that you don't like to sort of appease your audience, they're going to fucking know that. They're going to know that you're being dishonest with them. Every time. People can sense authenticity. Like, whether they realize it or not, you can. So be authentic yourself. And like, I do that, and I feel like I'm generally sort of, sometimes at least, like rewarded by people saying like, hey, like, this song I've never heard before, but like, I really like that one. Or just like, man, like, I haven't heard this song in a long time. Whatever. Like, this idea that people are surprised in a good way by the songs that I'm playing. I love to hear that. Awesome feeling. Yeah.
Would you like to hear some of the feedback that I got from the crowds tonight whenever I moseyed?
As long as it's positive.
I had, well, touching off from that, I did have someone say that your song choices was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I get that. It's cool. I love to hear that.
It's just different from what, I had someone say that you sounded just like Kurt Cobain.
Hey.
All
right, I'll take that.
You sounded spitting image of Sublime.
Hey, that's one of my all-time favorite bands. So
yeah,
of course,
I figured you would enjoy that one. I got, you can hear the passion in his voice.
I'm glad that comes through, because it is. If you're not passionate about it, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
life's too short to waste your time on stuff you're just not passionate about.
Like the feedback that I got tonight from the crowd was just
they were awesome,
really good.
Awesome crowd. They really were super cool, and
had a lot of our regulars in here, and they loved it. And so
I was very felt very honored to play for them, and they were super cool about it.
Absolutely. So let's talk originals.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Writing music is so hard.
It's different from writing a novel.
I can see that love-hate in your eyes. It's
tough, man.
I can see that.
Because we had a few originals with the band.
I was fixing to say, I know that As the Willow had
we had
some
few
originals.
Like, we even recorded a couple, and it was awesome. And it was so much easier working with like other songwriters, because I'm sure it's different for every songwriter, but for me, like, I can write. As a writer, like, of novels and short stories, like, lyrics come relatively easy to me. Like, I have a whole book full of lyrics that I could apply at any time. And really, the music is not particularly hard for me either. I don't think. Like, I can come up with what I think is a cool riff or idea and turn it into a song. And that's totally fine. But when it comes to, like, specifically a vocal melody, like, I can have the music, and that's great, and I have the words that I feel like will fit, and that's awesome. And then, like, trying to fit those lyrics into the song in, like, a melodic way is so hard for me. That's just, like, that's where I struggle with. And that was where it was nice with working with, like, our guys. Like, just as a, for instance, like, some of our songs, like, Jeremy was really good about coming up with vocal melodies. So he would hum something, like, some of it would come up with a cool riff, like, boom. He would hum a melody, and then it would, like, unlock it in my head. And then, boom, I'm off to the races, But, like, without someone to bounce that off of, I found it's so much more difficult for just me as just a one person to sort of do that. And it's just a struggle, for sure.
Well, I kind of feel that same way with me and you.
Yeah.
It's
but because I made, like, one of my favorite sayings is, like, whenever something comes up, I'll be like, I'm not saying no, but help me get to a yes.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm thinking, and then she'll bounce it back.
Absolutely.
Bounce it back. I call it bouncing the ball. I'm just like, okay, well, maybe we got something. Maybe we don't.
We've mentioned so many times, like, every time that we brought up anything about, like, taking a plunge into something else, like buying this building or even, like, starting this podcast and stuff, like, we would do this, like, pros and con thing where one of us would play the pessimist and the other one would play the optimist, and then we would swap and stuff, and we both said like none of this would work like without both of us in tow.
Absolutely.
Because the balance, it's the balance. Like it's kind of like you with Worm, like, you know, he had what you didn't, and you
Absolutely.
had
Everyone
what
has
he didn't.
blind spots, and everyone
Yeah.
has weaknesses and strengths, and like finding someone who, you know, meshes with your weaknesses and strengths and blind spots and spots of vision is like super important.
And it's rare to find them too.
Very much so. Absolutely.
And so I lucked all the way out. It was, 2016, whenever I went to go eat at a Mexican restaurant, and poor Brandon was by himself popping around, and I was just like, you need some help? I've been a waitress, and next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call talking about
Why aren't you at work already?
yeah. Hey, can you come into work today? I'm like, for a train day? No, for a work day. Like, and so,
We're shorthanded.
and then just kind of like took off from there.
And there's always a lot of push-pull. Like, I'm sure, like any partnership, there's ups and downs. And, like, that's natural, it's a part of it. But, like, I do feel like that sort of tension is a good thing.
100%.
For sure, you know, like, it just breeds creativity. And when you have someone, like, generally pushing to sort of, or push each other to be your best, like, it's just, you're going to get further. Most often than
Emotion
by yourself.
is passion. And so if it gets to a point to where someone is emotional about something, whether they're angry about it or sad about it or happy or excited or whatever, then there's passion pushing that emotion. And so, yeah, tension is a good thing. Like,
Absolutely.
because all it does is show that there is passion there. Because if there was no emotion, then what's the point?
You just can't let it overtake it. Like, it's, some people can get too into it, and then, you know,
100%.
can destroy a partnership or whatever. So, like, there is a,
Well,
you
you've
know,
got to be
a
level-headed too. It's kind of like whenever it's kind of like having a conversation with someone about like a topic that both parties have different views on. Like, you've got to go into it level-headed, and don't let opinions or emotions tear down the foundation that's there.
compromise is a skill that, like, not everyone has.
Yeah.
And it's an important part of any partnership, as I'm sure you guys know.
Let me ask you this. You said bouncing ideas off, and you were talking about, maybe humming something, and then you would off to the races, as you said. Do you still do that with anybody? Do you still, like, call them on the phone like, hey, man, check this shit out?
I mean, honestly, yeah, sometimes, you know. But really, like, especially recently, the answer is no, just 'cause I've been so busy. And, like, I just haven't had time, you know. But yeah, for sure, I would say most definitely. Even in my writing still, like, there's people that I, you know, like and trust that, you know, like, hey, I'm working on this. So, yeah, I think... And I'm sure, like, even the food games are probably not that much different. Like, you have an idea. Like, there's people, like, hey, like, I've got this new dish. Like, tell me what you think. Because, like, ultimately, like, there's people that you trust their opinions on. And, like, so taking that feedback is a very important skill. If you can't accept or take, like, honest feedback, you're just not going to get far in any sort of endeavor that you do.
100%.
That's just a fact.
If everybody says it sucks, you can't be like, oh, well, everyone's wrong.
Yeah. Like, there's definitely something to be said about, like, having belief in yourself, you know? That's fine, but, like, if you really give it to people you trust and they, like, all sort of come back with the same, at least, vibe of, like, hey, maybe this could need some work, like, you need to listen to them.
And that's where it would show your strength or your weakness too, because, like, if I created a dish and I set it out and everyone's like, this shit sucks,
Yeah.
and if my thought is anything like, oh, well, y'all are wrong, or, oh, well, it sucks, so forget that. If my thought is anything other than, okay, so how do I make it not
For sure.
suck? Then it's a problem, because that's just I've just given up on something that I'm passionate about. I've just like literally let the depression and the feedback overcome me.
Yeah.
And so
It's why it's important to solicit feedback from like people you trust and care about too.
100%.
Like that is an important part of the process. Not just giving it to a bunch of strangers and going with the whims of the random group or whatever you pick. Like people you trust, and again, augment your weaknesses. Like that's my best advice I can give to someone. Like because we all have them, and that's okay. Like acknowledge your weaknesses and find someone who can help you with them.
100%.
So on your originals, when was the last time you played some for like the general public?
Probably. I mean, it's been a few years. I would say 4 years.
So I guess you haven't even thought about maybe bringing it back out of the box.
Of course, I think about it all the time for sure. And I've got like there's some 8 or 9 songs in various stages of creation.
Okay.
For sure. Like, because again, and it's just natural. Like when you're practicing, of course, you're gonna start doodling around on something, and then it's like, oh, this is cool. So I would say, like, the idea is like, yes, I would absolutely love and want to and expect that. Hopefully, in the near future, that I'll be able to bust some out and see where it goes for sure. It's absolutely a goal of mine.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's something I'm excited about. Like I've certainly got some ideas, so we'll see if they come together enough to where I'm happy with them.
They will.
I hope so.
Just give them time.
For sure. I'm in no rush. Again, this
bouncing ideas.
I have a lot of fun
each other.
playing, and I'm busy with it now, and that's okay. So we'll see what happens. But it is a goal for sure, and hopefully there'll be something to announce at some point.
Right.
So, with all the millions of people that are probably not listening to my podcast, is there anything that you like, anything about yourself that you would want to like the world to know?
Oh man, about myself? No, I wouldn't. I mean, no. I don't always. It doesn't come natural for me to talk about myself. I'll put it that way for sure. Like like plugging and advertising yourself is a part of the gig, and so like there's an element of that.
Let me rephrase that. Is there anything about Blake Anglin, the musician, that you would like to or the world to know? Is there any like growth expected in the future? Is there anything to look forward to? Like I know that you've got quite a few gigs lined up already. You've already been pretty much like self-touring Arkansas. Have you been playing like outside of Arkansas? Is there I know Louisiana.
Yeah,
you played some
a couple places in Louisiana, mostly Arkansas. Like as for instance, I'll be up in Little Rock next weekend, a place called Dugan's Pub. That's had me a few times. That's a really cool spot. I don't, that's a good one. I don't know if this quite answers your question, but like I would enjoy the opportunity to play in like a band or with some musicians again at some point.
Okay.
Like we've tried to sort of put like the old group back together, and it's just
As the Willow?
people are busy, and like I love those guys to death. They're some of my best friends in the world, still are. But like there's just
I ran into Worm the other day.
yeah, for sure. Like they got kids and they got lives and they got stuff going on, and that's fine. But like I do think about that a lot. That like I would love to just be part of a group again for multiple reasons. Like the creative flow of it is just unmatched, and like really as much even on my best shows, and like I feel like I've had some really good shows by myself where like just awesome, the crowd was clearly into it. Like I've played enough to where like I know like without hubris whether I'm sounding good or not. Like certainly I don't ever get up there and just like God damn, I'm the fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel that way, but like I know like hey I'm playing to the best of my abilities right now. And like I'm at the top of my game. But there's not absolute on my best show, like the energy does not come close to like the energy of like sharing a stage with a group of musicians that are all that like you're in lockstep, you've practiced, like you're feeding off of each other. Unmatched. And I just cannot get that by myself. So that is something I would say like that I miss and would love to like re-experience in some capacity, whatever it may be. So
The way that you explain that is the exact same way in the kitchen.
yeah,
Cause
I feel like there's a
I,
lot of similarities.
I have a catering job tomorrow where I'm the only one cooking.
It's not the same.
So whenever like tonight, there was 4 or 5 people in the kitchen
Yeah.
banging around, and it was
And when you're like in
different.
lockstep, it's just a different feeling, man. You know, like
You can kind of communicate just by
absolutely. This is 100% true.
wink, whatever.
Because that's a big part of music. Obviously, you can't just say like, "Hey, I'm gonna solo now," or like, "Time for your solo to end." You know, like you do this winks and nods and just
Yep.
feel, and it's just crazy. Like it just
In the
it's-
kitchen, we call it the kitchen dance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's you either can dance or you can't. Like you either can feel the people that's around you and like shuffle around so freaking when we're going on a strong night and everything's like in tune and everyone's in tune with each other, it's so graceful in there. Just everyone just swims around
Timing
like
and
just
in a lot
everything
of
is just
honestly,
beautiful.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways, running a kitchen and being in a band is not that much different. Like you have multiple people who all have different jobs that are working in concert to like put forth one unified product for like someone to enjoy.
beautiful.
Really. And like, so like this idea that, you know, like if everyone is competent in doing their jobs, you just get in a flow state, like just like that. And it's 100% true. And anyone who has really experienced it knows exactly what we're talking about. And anyone who hasn't is probably completely lost. And that's, you know, that's fine too. But like, I cannot express enough how awesome it feels like once you're in that state with like some like-minded individuals. Completely unmatched feeling in anything else I've ever done.
It's symbolic. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that's undeniable.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask you this. Well, where are you playing at next?
Yeah, so next weekend I will be at Dugan's Pub in Little Rock. That's next, I don't know when this releases, but I'll be there September 6th.
Okay.
And then, I will be back at La Terraza September 27th. So this is actually be my first show in Monticello on a weekend by myself. So that's
Usually it's Thursdays.
usually Thursdays. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to sort of see how a weekend crowd at the hometown goes.
If it's a weekend, that means Aria will be here because Eric will probably want to go.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fine.
Eric could be down there.
And then you guys have been gracious enough to allow me to come back here November 8th.
November
We'll be
8th,
back at
yeah,
the, River
back at
Bend.
River Bend,
So-
November 8th. So
Looking forward to that very much, for sure.
And then
Yeah.
whenever crawfish season kicks back in, you'll
Yeah.
have to do River Bend and the crawfish.
Hey,
Shack.
man, I've had a
So,
blast. Every time I've come to you guys' venue, like it's been so much fun and just so welcoming, and it really means the world to me that you guys allow me to do that.
We love you, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
We love you.
guys
We
too.
love your music. We
Awesome.
love you.
Really, it means the absolute world to me. I just can't.
my husband would kick me out if I didn't love you as much as I did.
It's contractually obligated.
It's contractually obligated. So
So
Is there anything that you want to share? Anything social media? Follow you on anything?
yeah, sure. So I have a Facebook page for my music, which of course I post a bunch of songs on there, and my schedule is always on there. It's my name, Blake Anglin, and then a dash musician. So you can find it on my personal page.